Hey guys, so I actually got a question on Matthew 21. Oh, I lost the page. I got a question on the Bible. I'm so excited. It's a really famous, let me just get to it. Missed it. It's a really famous part of the Bible. You guys have probably heard it, especially with law of attraction stuff. You hear it a lot. It's Matthew 21:20, and Jesus basically says to people, because they're like, how do you do these amazing things, Jesus? How do we do it? And Jesus says, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what I've done, but you'll cast a mountain into the ocean, okay? And whatever things you ask in prayer, believing, you will receive. Not to burst your bubble, but this might be very helpful to you, okay? This really, really does. It's just like spirituality in a nutshell. Okay, so where do we begin? So in the Bible, they use a lot of metaphors, a lot of symbolism. Theologians don't come from me, but I actually think you might agree with this because you've seen these things being used by law of attraction people, just like, oh, you just need to believe. That's what God's about. Just believe that you're going to receive and you're going to receive. Doesn't really make sense because Matthew is all about being altruistic. Matthew in the Bible, Jesus comes and he's like, oh, it's all about being authentically ethical and altruistic and caring for your community and caring for the people around you. And, you know, the temple of Judaism has basically become a business. Like right before this, they go to the Temple of Judaism and there's a bunch of like shops in the temple where it's literally supposed to be a place where you are praying to God and trying to figure out God's birth chart for you. Okay, like literally like God's plan for you. Like, what's my destiny? What do you want me to do? That's the whole point. And so that you could be a co-creator with God. So just imagine, you know, these ideas of like the mountain. God is on top of the mountain and he sees the whole situation and you're down below and he sees the best path for you in this lifetime. He sees your potential. He sees everything that you're capable of and he's got a plan. This plan is for your highest good. It's not for you to be miserable. It's not for you to be, you know, like the sacrificial lamb. He already sent his son to be the sacrificial lamb. He doesn't need you to do it too, okay? So, basically Jesus, when he goes to the temple, he's like, these people are fake as hell. Like, these people are fake. They're saying that they, you know, believe in God and, you know, they're the chosen people. P.S. Everyone thought that Jesus was going to be this like military commander that was going to free the Jewish people and Israel from like Romans. He actually came to save us from ourselves and basically from being hypocrites. Gosh, I feel like he should come now. But like true, like we could actually take a lot from this. So basically, you know, he just has this temple run-in and then temple fig tree. Then he like sees this fig tree and there's no fruit. Okay. And it's the same thing with the temple. It's like you have this temple and you're not producing people who are actually doing God's will and building the kingdom of God here on earth. Okay. So no fruit, no fruit. And even in the beginning of the Bible, like in Genesis, the fruit's a big deal. Fruit's a big deal in the Bible. And in Deuteronomy, they're talking about what's the difference between a prophet and a psychic, right? Or not a psychic. They don't use psychic. They basically like break it down because psychic wasn't a word back then, but they break it down into like soothsayer, like baby murderer, witch, like Satan's whore. Like that's how they break it up into that or God's prophet. It's like very extreme, right? It's like, which one am I? But how do you measure? How do you decipher between the two? You measure the fruit. You measure the things that they're doing and suggesting to people and how it ends up affecting their relationship with God and blah, 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 right? So fruit's a big deal. So when Jesus comes across this fig tree, it's like a symbolism for the Temple of Judaism. He's like, I curse you because you're not producing fruit. So, you know, Jesus really cursed any religious institution that is not bearing fruit in that moment. He did. He just cursed it. And then the Romans post Jesus ended up tearing down that temple. So like he meant it. And that's how, we know that whenever any type of institution gets caught up in a situation of being a business rather than dedicated to the principles in which it started and being dedicated to God, it's going to be torn down. Like that's a guarantee for life, at least according to the Bible. So when he says these things, what he's talking about is, again, remember God being on top of the mountain. He's saying, look, if you work with God, you have these little plans. Maybe you think you're going to be an accountant, right? Maybe God has a much bigger plan for you. Maybe he does. Today, just I would love for you guys just take one day this week and do something nice for someone else and see how good it feels. Jesus was all about that, okay? Altruism every day, nonstop. And it feels good. It feels good to do something good for someone else because it gets us out of ourselves and it gets us trusting in human goodness once again. And it feels like we can have a real community and a real society where we're working together. And that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point, that we're building this kingdom of heaven on earth. And it's not religious. It's actually spiritual. It's not religious at all. And so when Jesus said that, he basically said, like, if you seek to know God's plan for you, and if you go to your guides, God, whatever you believe in, and if you're asking them like for help, you're going to get that help and it's going to move mountains on earth. That's what he's saying. So us coming together and us, basically following God's intention for our destiny in this lifetime, these institutions that are fake, they're going to fall to the wayside. They could be a huge mountain and it's going to fall to the wayside. And, it's really interesting. So coming out of that, so yeah, he wasn't promising like, hey, magical powers, law of attraction. That's not what he was saying or what he was promoting. He was basically saying that, if your fruit isn't representing what you, like for instance, if you say that you're all about paintbrushes, but I go to your house and it is filled with pencils, I'm going to say, what the hell? You said you were all about paintbrushes and you are about pens. Measure the fruit. Is it matching up? And I think that especially during this time, we can all do that. We can all, we're in Sagittarius, self-identity. We can all look in the mirror and say, am I actually matching up with who I think I am? Because the fruit is who I am. It's not who I think I am. It's not my narrative of myself. I am the fruit of my own labors. And that can be a hard pill to swallow, But it can also be, for us Virgos, a wonderful opportunity to say, okay, take inventory. This is what I'm seeing. This is how I can adjust things. I can, work on this and this and this and this way. But I think the key here is really praying and asking for help. God is on top of the mountain, sees the whole picture, and can give us some amazing guidance and can actually, it's not just about our personal lives. It's about us living in a society and in a world that truly cares about one another, is like working like a healthy body, all of the cells working together in a loving way. And the leading by example with this is actually stronger than fighting against it. And Jesus was a testament to that. So that's my biblical interpretation for you all. I could go more and more into it, but I think that's it for today. And I loved it. I loved talking about the Bible. I think it's important that we realize that it's an intertextual thing and it has a lot more meaning to it than maybe we think. And it was fun. And I love all different types of, religions, spiritualities, sacred texts. So if you guys want to hear more, let me know. And just, I'm curious. Let me know if this made you think about yourself or maybe humbled you a little bit or made you want to pray more. Because if it did, my job is done. I love you guys so much. Mwah.